everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me, and today I will be talking about my most anticipated releases of 2018. So probably everyone on BookTube has already shared their own list of releases that they're anticipating the most, but here's my list. So without further ado, let's just get on with it. And since I'm pretty much late with this video, the first book that I have on my list has already been released, and that is The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. So this is supposed to be book number 1 in her new trilogy, YA fantasy, and I heard only good things about this book. I'm not going to go into much detail because, as always, I try to keep myself mostly in the dark about new books, but I know that this book is about fairies and the world of fairies, and we all know that Holly Black is the queen of fairies, and I read her The Darkest Part of the Forest back in 2016 probably, and that was one of my favorite books, and I'm looking forward to reading this book as well. Heard only good things about it, and I cannot wait to get it. I actually ordered my own copy, but for some reason it's not going to be delivered until mid-February, and I have no idea why. And the second book on my list has also came out, and that is Beneath the Sugar Sky by Seanan McGuire. This is book number 3 in the Every Heart a Doorway series. I believe it is kind of prequel to the first book, actually, not the third one in the series, but otherwise I'm very anticipating this book. I read Every Heart a Doorway last year, absolutely loved it. It is a wonderful YA fantasy / magical realism story. It is very short, but I'm really into this world. I have not read book number 2, but I cannot wait to get my hands on this one. I have already pre-ordered it as well, together with The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, so I have no idea why it's going to be delivered to me by mid-February. Actually, it makes no sense, Indigo. I'm looking at you right there. Next book is the book that I've been dying to get my hands on ever since I heard that it's going to be a thing, to be a book, and that is Side Witch by Susan Dennard. Susan Dennard is one of my most favorite YA authors of nowadays. I loved Truth Witch. That was one of my favorite reads 2 years ago, and then Wind Witch. I met Susan Dennard twice, I believe, and I'm just freaking in love with her, with the way she shares her behind-the-scenes stories and her writing process, and in her newsletter and also in her Insta stories. And I've been anticipating, obviously, like everyone else, that the third book in the Witchland series will come out, and that would be Blood Witch, but Blood Witch is being delayed for a year, so we're getting a Side Witch, which is sort of like a prequel / a companion book, but I'm really anticipating it. There is nothing else that I want to do more than just to delve into the Witchland's world again, and I'm really anticipating it. I know that it's not gonna be a big book and it's just like a slide of a book, but still, I'm looking forward to it. It was supposed to be released at the beginning of January, but unfortunately the release date was pushed back, and now it is February 14th. I had it pre-ordered, oh god, months ago. I've had it since on the pre-order list since, I don't know, maybe like last summer or something. Like whenever it was announced, I just went and pre-ordered it at Indigo website. So I cannot wait to get my hands on. I'm just so pumped for it. Cannot wait. And also recently, Susan shared the UK covers of the reprints of The Truth Witch and Wind Witch, and oh my freaking god, it is glorious cover. It's just absolutely glorious cover for The Truth Witch and Wind Witch, and they're so beautiful. I want to buy them so freaking much. I might end up doing that. I honestly have no restraints when it comes to Susan Dennard. And another book on my list is also the book that I pre-ordered months ago, and its release date was also pushed back, and that is A Reaper at the Gates by Sabaa Tahir, and that is book number 3 in her and Amber in the Ashes quartet. So I'm really looking forward to reading this book. It is coming out on June 12th. It was supposed to be released in May, and before that I believe the release date was somewhere in April, but honestly I don't care. Sabaa's writing is so freaking amazing. When I read An Amber in the Ashes, I was a bit wary at first because I had a feeling as if the book was so overhyped that I would definitely find some flaws with it. On the contrary, I freaking loved it. The world building is amazing. The action is intense. The main protagonists are absolutely amazing. I honestly have not read A Torch Against the Night, and the reason for that being because when it was released and I had that second book pre-ordered, I felt that I will just devour it the way I devoured An Ember in the Ashes, and then I will have to wait for God knows how long. And I was right, because it's been over a year since the release of the second book, so there are like a year and a half between book number 2 and 3. So my plan is to reread An Ember in the Ashes in spring, then read A Torch Against the Night, and hopefully I'll get my hands on the third book very soon in summer, so it will be perfect. But I'm super hyped about it. Next book is the book that nobody thought would happen or would happen so soon, and I'm still not sure whether it's happening this year or not, but that is Vengeful by V. Schwab, and it's coming out supposedly in September of this year. So I read Vicious, which is book number 1 in this, let's just say, duology, because we honestly don't know whether it's gonna be a duology or if there will be more books. But I read Vicious a couple of years ago, and I fell in love with the writing from the very first page. I realized that V. Schwab is gonna be one of my autobi authors, and she is right now. Every single thing that I read which is written by her is amazing. She's definitely someone who just writes in the way that is perfect for me. I cannot describe it in any other way, and Vicious was an amazing introduction to her writing style. That is an adult novel, so she writes under her name as V. Schwab as opposed to Victoria Schwab, but I'm just freaking loved it. And when I finished reading Vicious, I felt that this book, even though it was perfect on its own, it would have benefited from the sequel. And now we're getting the sequel, and I cannot believe it. Like, until I actually have the book in my hands, I will not believe that we're getting a sequel. So it's coming out in September. Right now, the release date is September 25th. I have this book pre-ordered as well, and there is another thing, the repackaged or reprinted version of Vicious is coming out at the end of May. I have not ordered it, even though it looks so beautiful and the cover is just stunning. I decided to wait for a bit to see, because it's coming out very close to the time when I have to leave for a book con. And I'm just afraid that if I order it, it will not be delivered to me on time before BookCon. And I hope that I'll see V. Schwab there and I'll get the book signed. So I'm waiting to see whether she will be there and there will be copies of Vicious, the repackaged version of Vicious, or a special edition of Vicious available there. So I might get it there and might get it signed. Just the fact that we're getting Victor and Eli back, I'm just... Next book is supposed to be released on October 2nd, and it is What If It's Us by Becky Albertalli and Adam Silvera. And I know nothing about this book, and I do not care, because Adam Silvera is writing with Becky Albertalli, and it's everything I need to know. What it means to me is that it's going to be a great contemporary, probably with some weird magical realism thing if Adam gets his way, and probably there will be a lot of diversity in those books, and this is all I need to know, because this is my jam. This is exactly what I want to see. And the next book is the book that I knew nothing about until I saw it mentioned on Twitter, and that is Black Wings Beating by Alex London, and it's coming out on October 9th. This is going to be book number 1 in the Skybound series. Not sure if it's going to be trilogy or whatnot, but Alex wrote his Proxy duology, which I kind of enjoyed. It was a sci-fi YA story set in 2 books, and it had a prominent gay relationship in it, so I know that it will have a queer or gay characters in this book, but this one is going to be a fantasy series, and I'm really looking forward to it. There's not that much information. I saw some information on Goodreads about how it's going to be about a brother and sister, and there is some fantasy world, and there are falconers there. Know nothing more than this about this book, but I love the cover. The cover is stunning and I'm looking forward to it. Well, this is it. These are all the books that I am anticipating this year. Definitely there will be more books that I will probably learn about later in the year. I know that Adam Silvera might come out with another book, and I heard that Becky Albertalli is also publishing another book. There are also some indie authors that I'm following that might release their books as well, but this is everything that I have on my list right now, and I do have a couple of books already pre-ordered. I also know that Victoria Schwab might be releasing another middle grade book this year. I believe it's coming out in August, and it has to do with ghosts. But otherwise, I don't have any other books on my radar. But if you think there are any other books that should be on my radar and I'm not aware of them, please let me know down in the comments which are your most anticipated releases of this year. But otherwise, this is it. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you very soon. Bye! Most waiting for, and I cannot talk, a fairly, but I know that it is set in a fairly, what is wrong with me? I believe 2015. Oh my god, I cannot talk today. I definitely am going to get my own copy, and it's actually already ordered, so why am I saying this? In her An Amber in the Ashes quartet. Ooh, so many letters. Blah, 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 blah. My feet are freezing. I don't know why.